What is going on, everybody? Zach RC here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome along to episode number 53 of the F1 Ultimate Career Series for the Australian Grand Prix, the second race of Season 4. If you guys did miss the last episode, make sure to go check that one out before you see this one. And as always, if you are new, then make sure to get subscribed for more future F1 content as the series continues on. So, first race then of 2023 now in the books, and we head to Australia for round 2. But before we do that, we've got an issue in the chassis department. Support the charity or honour commitments. A charity is asked to be happy to patronise their cause by being the face of their latest campaign. Unfortunately, this would mean you missing the chassis department's team building event we have planned. So difficult choice to be made then in just the second round of the season. But in terms of which ones to go for, we'll be charitable this time round. We'll accept to support the charity, and if we need to do this later on in the season, we'll decline. We'll have to wait and see there. But a lot of resource points to spend, 2.4k to be exact. So we'll put those towards some more upgrades. Of course, we made a fair few in the first round. So go towards the aero department and go into chassis, make one there as well. Look around for durability. That'll be another one, because obviously durability has been a problem for us in the last few seasons. Of course, yet to actually retire from a race with Mercedes, which is always a positive sign. Not enough points to go for a third one there, but still a number of upgrades on the board. Of course, a few of them we made back in Bahrain in the first round. Third fastest team in front of Aston Martin now, and obviously in front of McLaren too. There's the standings in the first race. Verstappen won it, Hamilton second, and Leclerc third. We finished in fourth place with solid points from Mercedes, just 5 points back from Red Bull in the Constructors' Championship. So a positive start, but hopefully gains can be made in this race. We try and get our first podium finish of the season. Obviously get our title defence off to a correct start. The result of the chassis department event, let's see exactly what happened in the end. The charity gave us some much needed exposure, and the team understood why it was important to go. So driver acclaim up by 1,000, of course, driver acclaim, not me in too much in this series, but we did the right thing and supported the charity there. And in terms of upgrades, we've got enough points now to go for one more on the durability department front, so make that. We've got a few of them coming in for Australia now, so hopefully there will be a bit more improvement on the race car, and all of them coming in without too much issue so far. Hopefully there's nothing that goes wrong in between now and the race itself. Of course, Australia's been... It's been a back and forth circuit for us the last couple of seasons. Of course, the crash there in Season 2, second place last season in Season 3, obviously points on debut in Season 1. And hopefully, this will be the one we try and take a victory this time around. So here we go then, set for the race weekend. But before we do that, we'll make one more upgrade or two on the chassis department front. We'll go for 2 minor upgrades, I think. We've got enough for 2 on that front. So both of them in, and those come in hopefully for the next race in Azerbaijan, and nothing more on the board. So that'll do it more or less for upgrades, and those will be coming in for the next Grand Prix. But for now, though, it's time to head over to Albert Park and get our race weekend underway, get round 2 of the season underway. Time now for qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix. Here we go then, all set for qualifying down under here in Melbourne, Australia for the second race in the 2023 season. And a fun fact I didn't want to give to you guys before we got underway for our first flying laps. This is the only circuit that's been on the calendar every single season of Ultimate Career to also be held in a different slot on the calendar every single time. It's held round 1, now round 2, round 3, and also round 14 as well. So I doubt that'll be changed anymore going to next season, because I imagine it holds round 2 or 3 in Season 5, but always a fun stat to be found in the lore of Ultimate Career over the first 3 or 4 seasons of the series so far. But coming on off turn 14 now, getting set for our first lap. Big slide there out of turn 14. That could be a dampener on our first sector potentially. Coming across the line here to start our first lap. Car on our right going towards turn 1. And the pit exit is Max Verstappen, who's coming out right in front of us. And that could put an end to our lap before it's even got underway here through turn 2, sliding through turn 2, almost running into the barrier, almost running into Verstappen. But our former championship rival and current championship leader already serving us trouble in his RB19 as we go through turn 3 for the first time. So a poor start to our qualifying session here, and coming towards the line, Esteban Ocon in the Alpine there behind us. Verstappen dropping back a bit. 1 minute 19.8 for us, 1 minute 19.6 for Ocon. That's how much Verstappen's entry onto the racetrack has impacted us in terms of that first lap. And Gasly goes faster too, so both Alpines quicker than us, and pushing on to our second lap, trying to get some more time on their set tyres. Lance Stroll then finds himself in our way as we go down into turn number 11 and going side by side with the Canadian, trying to get around him on corner exit, sliding big time there off the right hander, and Stroll still stays alongside, gets back in front of us, and we were a second up prior to that. So unfortunately, Stroll and Verstappen have both served to ruin our first runs here. So we come up the last few corners to complete our second lap. No improvements after a purple second sector 2, and that is particularly gutting that Stroll was in the way there. So accelerating time now onto our fresh set of soft tyres and going for one last run towards the end of the session. P13 right now, and again, I'm used to a banker lap being poor compared to what we normally do, but this is quite something different here. P14 now, down the order of Zhou Guanyu there in P13 now, but coming on to our last run, qualifying drawing to a close here in the final few seconds. The checker flag is formed, coming through to finally get a clean lap to ourselves, going through turns 12 and 13, a second up. This could be a good lap if we can finish it off to strong in the last 2 corners here. Through 14, trying to avoid sliding the car. Leclerc fastest, 1:18.7 towards the line, way wide there out of 14, but charging up towards the line, it's been very close here. Is it going to be enough? That could be pole, to be fair. That was 1:18.7. It's been very tight indeed. Have we done it? P2. We got a clean lap in front row of the grid for the first time since Season 2. Solid effort.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who'll be fronting the grid. Leclerc, Cohen and Max Verstappen. Goodbye for now then, but really we're just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
Look how close that was. 200 to cover the top three. Leclerc fastest. We're second by 3,000, and Verstappen there in third. Hamilton fourth, so Mercedes in a good space. And potentially we could try and look to lead into the first corner in the Grand Prix tomorrow. But now it's time to head into the Australian Grand Prix.
You can hear the Australian fans roaring as they line the track here in Albert Park. Welcome to Melbourne, and the roar from the crowd can only mean one thing. It's race day. We go racing today then in the state of Victoria, where the drivers have 14 corners and 3.28 miles to navigate at an average lap speed of around 120 miles per hour. Close proximity of the barriers make accidents inevitable. Recent history shows us that a safety car is not at all out of the question. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position and Cohen completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Hamilton, Sainz, Norris, Perez, Oscar Piastri, Gasly, Ocon, Fernando Alonso, Joe, Bottas, Albon, Tsunoda, Magnussen, Hulkenberg, Ricciardo, Stroll and Logan Sargent. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. Natalie Pinkham joins me once again in the commentary box. It's fantastic to have you with us today. I'm curious though, how do you think the drivers stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, the regulations aren't new anymore, but the teams and the drivers are still coming to terms with them. I firmly believe it's also track specific. We've seen some wheel-to-wheel racing throughout the year. Some tracks lend themselves better to it than others. I'd like to see it at every race in the whole season. Is that too much to ask?
Here we go then, no more talking, time for action for the Australian Grand Prix, round 2 of the 2023 season from P2 on the grid and with a very solid chance to lead into turn 1. In terms of strategy for the race ahead, of course, we did some softs to mediums in Bahrain, but of course, Bahrain notorious for being poor on the rear tyres. We'll try it again here, give it one more attempt in Australia and see if that makes any difference and see what we can gain compared to the cars around us.
The formation lap gets underway then, and it's going to be interesting today to see how the dry conditions could affect the lifespan of the tyres.
So medium tyres then the primary weapon of choice for the majority of the field here, but 7 cars started on the soft for this first stint. Myself, Hamilton, our teammate, Perez, Alonso, Albon, Ricciardo and Stroll at the rear of the field. So what could this different tyre choice bring into the Grand Prix today? Have to wait and see.
As the cars come back towards the grid to line up for the start of the race, each driver will be wanting to get the best start they possibly can. And they'll be hoping to finish today's race on the podium, failing that, within the points.
So here we go then, the Australian Grand Prix set to get underway. 29 laps around Albert Park for what should be a very exciting afternoon of racing. And a genuine chance we can actually end this first lap in the lead, I feel. We're quite close. We were decent on the race start in Bahrain. I feel we get more of the same here. We get a good enough launch. We try and overhaul Leclerc by the first corner. It's going to be very tight though. Stroll and Sargent take their places at the back of the grid to get this one underway. Here come the lights then. Down under in Australia for the second race of 2023. Here at Albert Park, the lights are on. Lights out, foot to the floor. Go, go, go. Race towards turn 1 begins. Leclerc covers us off, going towards turn 1. Going to go to the outside, though, for this first corner. Using overtake into turn 1. And we lead on the outside for turn 1. On the inside turn 2, clearing Leclerc. And for the first time in Ultimate Career, we lead down to the first corner. And we are gone here. Checking out over Leclerc. Verstappen in third place. Perez fourth, and Sainz rounds out your top 5. But what a start there. The starts feel a lot better in F123 than they ever did in F122. And as a result, the first lap could be a major opportunity for us over the course of this season. But for this lap for now, we're into the lead on the first lap and coming through the last couple of corners a couple of moments later at the end of lap number 1 we'll lead the opening lap for the first time in an Ultimate Career race. So fantastic start and 28 more laps to go. hopefully just like this. So into turn 1, Leclerc 8 tenths back, but onto lap 3, DRS in play for the first time on the run down towards turn number 11 here, running a bit wider over the curb down corner exit. Leclerc may get close enough going down towards that right hand of Leclerc to the outside now, looking into turn 11, gets in front, going to outbrake him, stay alongside the Ferrari going into the corner, and on corner exit trying to jump in front, hit the slide on corner exit, but Leclerc backs out of it, so we'll maintain our lead for now. Verstappen's still there in third, fastest lap to his name, Perez still in fourth, also on those soft tyres, keep an eye out for him over the course of this first in, and Sainz in fifth, bit deep there, going into turn 13, but Leclerc is there on our tail, so might go for another move with DRS down this main straight here to start lap number 4 of this race, and going down towards turn 1 once again. Leclerc getting closer and closer here, closing that gap, going up towards that right-hander at turn 1, closing in all the time, pulls to the inside of the racetrack, into that first corner, going to try and get him back on the inside here, through turn 2, Leclerc briefly got in front, but on corner exit will move back in front, and Leclerc may try and come back at us with DRS, but now it's Max Verstappen for company on the run towards turn number 3, we'll let those two fight behind us, and Perez and Sainz going at it behind them with P4, so those two side by side through that third corner, going through turn 4 for us now, yellow flag behind, and it looks like one of the cars in our lead pack, not quite sure who it is though, but based on the minimap, it looks like it could be our teammate Lewis Hamilton, who's out of the Grand Prix, and that's a horrible sight, given we're driving the exact same race car, but Hamilton's W14 has carked it, coming through turns 2 and 3, and going down towards that third corner, the car goes up in smoke, and that is game over for the 7-time world champion and our teammate no less, and given we're driving that race car, that was something to keep an eye out for over the next 25-26 laps of this Grand Prix, but Hamilton becomes the first retiree of the afternoon here in Albert Park. On to lap 6 now, there is Sergio Perez in second place on those soft tyres, as well as us, going up towards turn 11, pulls to the outside of the racetrack and defend the inside, as we did against Leclerc, going into the right-hander here, going to try and move back in front of Perez, just closing the door on corner exit, but sliding again, and really struggling to keep the car under control, especially through these faster corners and on corner exits from the lower speed corners too. Going through onto lap 8 now, Perez still not letting us breathe, Leclerc and Sainz behind us, Verstappen in P5 now, Verstappen falling back them, just that fastest lap to his name, Perez closing in once again, DRS to his ploy, going down towards 11 once more, a prime overtaking opportunity for the cars behind us, so Perez on the outside there, going through, braking a bit too late though, going into the right-hander, off and in onto the gravel there, Perez takes the lead, crucial mistake for us, as Leclerc tries the inside, going into turn number 12, but Perez is in front, he leads the way, and that could be difficult to watch, try and get back, given he's on those soft tyres, looking very strong, arguably a lot racy, a lot faster than we've been for the first 8 laps of this race, but Perez is almost gone completely, and out of DRS range when we reach turn 14, now we've got to keep Leclerc behind us, onto lap 10 now, Leclerc tries the outside, going towards turn 3, defending the inside, once again, keeping just within that car link of Leclerc's car, and on corner exit trying to get back around his outside, as we've done several times over the course of this series, this circuit, we're going wide there, off the curb at turn 4, and through turn 5 now, we've got the inside line, going to shut the door on Leclerc, be as blunt as we can, and try and maintain that spot. Perez 2.5 in front now, so a lot of work to be done try and catch him, but I think this could be a long shot in this Grand Prix. On to end lap number 12 now, coming in for our first and only stop of the race, of course pitting out earlier, but everyone else on the medium tyre, so 7 cars will be coming in likely on the end of this lap. Perez is already gone, he is away into our pit box now, and I've got the button right this time after our mistake in Bahrain, so I managed to fix that issue, and it'll be a 2.3 second stop, waiting for a split second there for a number of cars to come around us, but making our way at the pit lane now, and up into the racetrack once again. Albon was there in front of us, coming in for his stop as well, but onto the circuit now, clean patch of racetrack around us here, as we make our way onto the circuit once again behind Valtteri Bottas there in P11, we're in P12 for now, but of course our outlet will be nice and undisturbed here, as we try and maintain our position against Leclerc and the cars behind us. Of course, that'll be our main concern, not really getting around Perez, rather keeping Leclerc, Sainz, Verstappen behind us here. On to end up number 13 now, and coming round as the majority of the field comes in for their first pit stops of this Australian Grand Prix, off of turn 14 and charging towards turn 1. I see Leclerc there at the pit exit going towards turn 1. It's been very tight. I think we might just get him going towards this first corner. Yes, there he is on our right. So Leclerc once again finds himself behind us going into the first corner, so we cut turn 1 ever so slightly there, so unfortunate mistake, but pushing on now on our medium tyres. Leclerc on the hards there, so what's the game plan for those guys to go for the rest of the Grand Prix? Likely on that set of hards. But on to lap 16 now, Leclerc is back. He's got Alonso for company there. Alonso with the fastest lap. That Aston Martin is quite quick in his opening rounds of the season, and Leclerc was there on the outside, going to dive to his inside though, going into turn 11, long corner exit pulling back in front, but that allows Alonso to close in also on those medium tyres, and Sainz there in P5 as well, so keep an eye out for Alonso over the next couple of races, because he could be on it as he was at the end of last season with Alpine, but going a bit too deep there through turn 13, Leclerc trying again off turn 14 here, but on to lap 18 now, Leclerc, Alonso, Sainz, the whole train is back, almost the whole train behind us. You see Verstappen is there in the picture as well to make our way through turn number 14, Lando Norris not too far behind either, so the whole train, a big slide again off of 14 as we did during qualifying, and now Leclerc seizes this chance, tries the outside going towards turn 1, moves in front of us, takes P2, going towards that first corner, and Leclerc in front, but locks up there, no smoke, but locks up the car, going into turn 1, Alonso, Sainz, Verstappen, all getting around him here. Charles Leclerc has bottled it, and will take P2 back, nice and easy, cool as you like, Alonso now in P3 and looking for Aston Martin's first podium, which would be fantastic for them after a pointless season last time round in 2022. But P2 back for us. Look, Perez is 9.6 up the road as of right now. Onto that 20, bit wide there through turn 2, and Sainz tries the outside for 3. We've gotten used to defending the inside over the course of this race so far, and once again keeping it narrowly within the car of Sainz's machine and pulling back around him on the outside at turn 4. Same tactic we deployed for several years now, and Sainz finds himself back in P3 with his hero Alonso for company right behind. Onto lap 23 now. Alonso's fallen away. It's down to Sainz and Leclerc once again. Verstappen not too far back either. Leclerc and Sainz challenging us. Sainz to the outside, going towards turn number 9, the chicane. Our first real challenge into the left-hander now. Sainz on the outside there. He'll be on the inside for the corner, but we'll shut him out here. Again, be as blunt as we possibly can. Leclerc tries to take advantage out of the corner, can't quite do it. Those two side by side, again, 8/10 like that. Because we want to try to avoid doing that because it's quite a dirty move to be pulling off. But pushing on to lap 26 now, only a few more laps left to go in this thing. Our medium tyres are starting to fade here. Sainz on the outside there. We gave him a bit of room to try and go for it, but force him wide again. Verstappen takes full advantage of that and tries the outside, going towards 11 once more. Verstappen putting in front the Dutchman side by side with our former championship opponent and going through turn 11 again, clearing the Dutchman. But you can see us sliding there. How much longer will these medium tyres last compared to the hard tyre runners? He's making our way through towards turn 13 once again onto lap 28 this thing, and Verstappen still giving us constant pressure here. How much longer can we keep these guys at bay? Perez is on for victory, 21 seconds up the road here. He's making our way through turn 12 once again and keeping these guys all behind us here, going through towards 13. No! Big smoke there on the back of the race car, and that could be the penalty you're going. Oh no, I don't believe it. With a lap, just over a lap to go in this Grand Prix. There it goes. Power unit up in smoke, and it's game over as everyone tries to get around us here, and what could have been a fantastic final lap of keeping everyone behind us at bay, holding back that entire storm. It will not happen. We'll cross the line, start to lap 29, so we'll be classifying the results, but that's it. We will not see the checkered flag, and our title defence has taken a massive decline there as he finds turn 1 once again for the last time in this Grand Prix, and we will not find turns 2 or 3 in this thing, or the rest of the lap itself, pulling the car over, double DNF for Mercedes, and up front, Sergio Perez, 20 seconds clear of the pack behind him, will round turn 14, take his 4th win of his career in Ultimate Career, and running towards the checkered flag to take victory here at the Australian Grand Prix. What a disappointment that was.
A great race then, and a fantastic victory here at Albert Park. So Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
Well, they are very much at one with the car, which is a cliche, but it's true. It's not an easy process, and that work is very much paying off.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everybody at the team.
Perez wins then, flanked by the 2 Ferraris on the podium, but that is so disappointing. That's the closest we've been to the end of a race to have the engine then blow up on us. I'm not even sure what part it was, but frustrating stuff there. But Red Bull take 2 victories out of 2 then. 1 for Verstappen, 1 for Perez. And we'll have a look at the rest of the results then from that Australian Grand Prix and see how much damage that does to our championship standings.
Let's have a quick look at how the drivers' standings have changed. Our championship leader is still sat at the top of the standings, but their rivals have made up some solid ground today. So then, Natalie Pinkham, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Well, you can't fault anything that Sergio Perez did out on track today. He drove flawlessly, making him an easy pick.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. And pulling further ahead in the standings, it's Red Bull. Meanwhile, Ferrari have improved their position. A strong weekend for them as they fight their way towards the top. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Verstappen then finishes in 4th place, Norris 5th, Piastri in 6th, another good race for the Australian in its first home Grand Prix, Alonso 7th, Ocon 8th, Albon 9th, and Lance Stroll takes the last point. Look at that, double retirement for Mercedes, myself P19, Hamilton P20 of course. As I say, we are still classified, so we just considered the lap down, but very unfortunate as Red Bull gain even more ground. And in terms of the championship standings, that'll put us down to P7 then, with just 12 points to our name being jumped by Sainz, Perez, Leclerc, Piastri, Verstappen, they're all in front of us now, and work to be done in these next few rounds as Verstappen leads Perez by 2 and Leclerc by 7. So those guys are the early contenders so far. Mercedes 42 points back in the Constructors' title race. Red Bull 24 clear of Ferrari, and that RB19 is going to take some beating in the next few races. But guys, that'll do it for this episode of Ultimate Career. I hope you did enjoy it despite the unfortunate end to it. If you did enjoy it, let me know down in the comments below what you thought. Make sure to get subscribed for more future F1 content. Have an absolutely fantastic day, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Goodbye.